Hello and welcome to our comprehensive guide on Retrieval Augmented Generation, that is RAG. In this video, we'll start with an introduction to large language models, followed by its limitation and a deep dive into RAG, a cutting-edge technique reshaping the AI landscape. We'll break down the basic key concepts and essential terminology of RAG and explore its key components and workflow. Discover the exciting application of RAG and learn how to address hallucination in this innovative approach. And wait, we also have a surprise add-on for you all. You will get hands-on with RAG using LangChain, from importing libraries to detailed implementation. But here's the best part. This is not just a theory. You will be guided through each step, ensuring you gain practical experience and master RAG by the end of the session. So get ready to elevate your AI skills. Let's get started.
What exactly is an LLM? Imagine you have a super smart friend who has read every book, article, and blog post in the world. This friend can chat with you about almost anything, help you with your homework, write stories, and even tell you jokes. That's pretty much what an LLM does. In technical terms, an LLM is a type of artificial intelligence that has been trained on vast amounts of data. It can understand and generate human-like text based on the pattern it has learned from all that reading. This is part of a broader field called generative AI, which focuses on creating content that resembles human output. Let's now break down the basics. Large language and model. Large just means that the model has been trained with a massive amount of data. We are talking about billions of words from books, websites, articles, and more. Model refers to a set of instructions or algorithms that helps the AI understand and generate language. Think of it like a recipe that guides how to make a cake. In this case, it is guiding the AI on how to create meaningful text. Let's talk about language. This is all about words, sentences, and how we communicate. When you text your friends, write an email, or post on social media, you are using language. So now that you understand what each word in LLM stands for, let's quickly see what is the technical definition. LLMs are language models made up of neural network with billions of parameters that are trained by self-supervised learning on vast amounts of unlabeled text. Now let's dive into how do LLMs work. Let's simplify this with an example. Imagine you type "the sky is dash dash dash." The LLM might predict the next word to be blue because it has seen that phrase so many times during its training. Large language models like GPT-4 operate based on complex neural networks trained on vast amounts of text data. Here is a simplified explanation of how they work in two phases. The first phase is the training phase, followed by the inference phase. The training phase has 4 steps. Step 1, data collection. That is gathering diverse text data from various sources. Step 2, pre-processing, which means cleaning and tokenizing text data into numerical representations. Step 3, model architecture, which is nothing but designing the neural network structure, typically a transformer. Step 4, training is adjusting model parameters by predicting the next word in sentences. By this training phase, the LLMs are being trained on vast amount of data to do further predictions. Now, coming to the next phase, which is inference phase. It also has 4 steps. Step 1, input processing. That means tokenizing and converting the input text into embeddings. Step 2, generating output. Now using the model to predict and generate the next words. Step 3, sampling, which is selecting words from predicted probability distribution. Step 4, last but not the least, post-processing, which means converting generated tokens back to readable text. After the training phase, in the inference phase, the LLMs will recognize the pattern, sample content, and give predictions. Apart from these steps, there are 3 key concepts which we should know to demystify LLMs. First, attention mechanism. This allows the model to focus on relevant part of the input text, improving its understanding of context and meaning. Second, embeddings, which are numerical representation of words or tokens that capture their meaning and relationship. Third, transformers. Transformers are the architecture that uses self-attention to process input data in parallel, making it efficient and more powerful. Let's see some examples of LLMs in action. Example 1, chatting. Your prompt can be, what is the capital of Japan? LLM replies, the capital of Japan is Tokyo. LLM knows this because it has read a lot of information about countries and capitals. Let's see example 2 about writing. Your prompt can be, can you help me write a story? LLM says, sure. Once upon a time in a land far away, there was a brave knight who ... The LLM can generate creative text based on what it has learned from reading stories. Example 3, let's see answering questions. Your prompt can be, explain photosynthesis in simple terms. LLM replies, photosynthesis is a process by which plants use sunlight to make food from carbon dioxide and water. It simplifies complex topics by using the patterns it has learned from educational content. There are different types of LLMs, each designed for specific task and application. Now let's explore these types. First are base models. They are trained on a wide range of data and can perform general language understanding and generation tasks. They aren't specialized for any particular type of instructions, but are versatile. For example, GPT-3, which is known for its versatility and ability to generate coherent and contextually relevant text. Another type is instruction-based models. They are fine-tuned to follow specific instructions better than base models. They can understand and execute tasks based on detailed prompts given by the user. For example, T5, that is text-to-text transfer transformer. It converts all NLP problems into a text-to-text format, making it highly versatile for tasks like translation, summarization, and question answering. Another example is Instruct GPT, which is tailored to follow specific user instructions better and provide more useful and safe responses. So, these were the types of LLMs. However, there are paid and open source LLMs as well in the market. Based on your usage and budget, you can explore them. Some paid LLMs are GPT-4, 4o, Microsoft Azure OpenAI services, etc. And open source are GPT Neo, BERT, etc. Let's see how are LLMs revolutionizing the world of AI. In education, they can help explain difficult concepts, answer questions, and even tutor students. In content creation, they assist writers, marketers, creators by generating ideas, drafting content, and editing. In coding, they assist professionals with generating code to their specific problems. In customer support, many companies use LLMs to power their chatbots, providing quick and accurate responses to their customer inquiries. Apart from all these fields, LLMs are being utilized in every field and domain. But it's not all smooth sailing. There are challenges too. Let's see one such challenge, which is bias. Since LLMs learn from human written text, they can pick up and reproduce biases present in the data. Another one is misinformation. They can sometimes provide incorrect or misleading information, especially if the data they were trained on was flawed. However, keeping challenges aside, the future of LLMs is exciting. As they continue to improve, we can expect them to become even more accurate, reliable, and versatile. They will be better at understanding context, handling complex tasks, and even learning from smaller amounts of data. So, there you have it. Large language models, LLMs, are like super smart friends powered by tons of data and advanced algorithms. They can chat, write, and help us in countless ways. As they continue to evolve, they are set to become even more integral in our daily lives.
As you know what is large language model, we're going to discuss about limitation of large language model. So why we will going to switch on RAG. So before that, we should understand the limitations of LLMs. So the first limitation is computational resources. So to train the data and to deploy the model, we need high cost there. So this during training the model and deploying the model using LLM, there we need high computational cost. So that is the first limitation of LLM. Next is data dependency. So LLM use vast amount of data. So there it actually highly dependent on or heavily dependent on data. So after data dependency, next is performance issue. So LLM having this limitation because factually it provides sometimes incorrect output, which is referred as hallucination. After performance issue, let's move to the next limitation, that is ethical and social concern. So as you know, LLM use very large amount of data, right? So during that data might have some sensitive information as well. So we have to be very careful about the privacy of the data, and there we should be careful about all the ethics for data what we are using, and the legal things related with data. So that limitation what we have in LLM is regarding this ethics for using a data and the data privacy. After that, explainability, and last is generalization limits. So these all are the limitation of large language models, and because of these limitation, we'll move to RAG that will reduce that limitation, will be used to overcome this limitation. Let's understand about retrieval augmented generation, which is RAG. Now, what is RAG over here? First, we'll discuss about the definition part. Then after, we'll use why we use this RAG, the purpose of RAG. And last, we're going to understand how it works. But before we start this, I'll tell you the meaning of that retrieval. Retrieval, basically, that R is working like a brain that search for all the information. So what we can say here, that R is basically work like a brain, okay, that search all the information. Then after this generation part, what is this generation? So that generation, basically it's a creative part of RAG, okay. So that is used to work on that the data what we have searched through retrieval, and then after the last part is knowledge base. After once we'll finish the definition and the purpose and how it works, we're going to understand the knowledge base part as well. So knowledge base is the last thing where we basically use to collect all the information what we have gathered after this retrieval and generation part. Okay, so let's understand first what is definition of RAG. So RAG combines language generation with information retrieval to enhance text generation. Basically, it makes the data more accurate, reliable. It uses external data sources to provide more accurate, as I said before, and relevant responses. Next comes is purpose of RAG. Now the main goal is what? Of course, if we are working on data, if we want to train a data, if we want to deploy the model, so basically we need the accuracy there, we need the quality there, right? And reliability should be there. So these all three terms what I said is there in RAG. So the purpose of RAG over here is the main goal to improve the quality, accuracy of language model output, because that issue we are getting in LLMs. As I discussed before, the limitation of LLM. So there is performance issue, right? So in performance issue, what I told you that the output we were getting through LLM, sometimes it factually incorrect, and but the output how LLM show is like very confidently LLM provide the incorrect output, which referred as hallucination. So here that RAG is used to overcome through that limitation. Here we can see that to improve the quality and accuracy, and the output what we are getting is more better and accurate and reliable. RAG help models provide up-to-date information and contextually rich responses. So basically, in brief, we can say the output what we get through RAG is very accurate, very reliable, and the information what we get through RAG at last is very up to date. Now the next point comes is how RAG works. So here you can see that RAG retrieve relevant information from a database or the internet before generating a text. So database we can use like SQL or any other database to retrieve the relevant information. This retrieved information is then used to produce more informed response to get the better output and up-to-date information. So that's how RAG works. Now the next you can see on the screen is benefits and example of RAG. So first we'll discuss about the benefit of RAG. You can see there that RAG improves the obviously accuracy. This is the best and the first main benefit of the RAG, that it improves the factual accuracy, which we generally don't get in sometimes in LLM of generated text. It allows model to provide answer based on the latent available data. So whatever the available data we have, based on that it provide the correct output there. Whatever the information we have, based on that it always try to provide the accurate outcome there, and as well as up-to-date information. After that you can see that use case of RAG. Now what is it? Common application you can see where we can use the RAG is include chatbot, virtual assistant, and content creation tools. Chatbot you already know, a lot of chatbots now we are using. Virtual assistant which actually assist you virtually. If you ask anything you will get a response based on your query. So in these many applications we can use the RAG, and there we actually get the proper accuracy. Next is RAG is useful in any scenario where accurate and current information is crucial. After that, let's discuss about the example of RAG. So you can see on the screen that I have given there that Google search augmented model and OpenAI models using retrieval plugins. So this is well-known examples of RAG system where we are actually taking the benefit of the RAG. These systems set the benchmark for integrating retrieval with generation. So basically, these system you can see in OpenAI. In OpenAI, we have a lot of models like ChatGPT and all. There we are using these RAG and all because they are giving the benchmark. What I said before, that this system set the benchmark because the output accuracy we are getting through that output is far better than because of RAG. So these system actually set the benchmark for integrating retrieval with generation. So these Google search augmented models and OpenAI nowadays are using RAG just to get the proper outcome in a very accurate manner. So we're going to understand more about RAG. So let's dive into the RAG more. So now the next concept is basic terminologies of RAG. Let's understand one by one all the basic concepts and terminology which we use in RAG. First is retrieval component. Now what it is? So the retrieval component, as you can see on the screen, it searches for the relevant information and it actually works like a brain who search for all the information, right? So the retrieval component searches for the information, and from where it search, from database or some other source like internet. Then after, this component ensures the model has access to be up to date. So this retrieval component, when it searches the information, the key point here is that whatever information it will search, that should be up to date. So it always focus on that also. And after that, why it always focus on up to date? So because if the information what it will search for, basically if it is up to date, then based on those information only we'll get the accurate final outcome. So here it should be first up to date and the contextually relevant data, right? It should not be something else, like if suppose we are searching for a data, so it's completely relevant for what we are searching. Next is generation component. Now what it is? The generation component use that retrieved data, means the data what we have searched through retrieval component. So it uses that data, and why it uses? To generate some response based on that up-to-date information. This ensures that generated text is both coherent and factually accurate. So generation is used to get the information from the retrieval component, and then after it start working on it and try to generate the accurate and reliable data, or we can say the outcome. Now the next you can see here is very important, which is knowledge base. These three are very important parts of RAG. So knowledge base is basically what? The knowledge base is the source of the information from where you are getting that information in retrieval component. So here you can see on the screen that the knowledge base is the source of information used by the retrieval component. As I said before, it can include database or other sources from where the retrieval component is actually retrieving the info. So it can be any source, it can be a website, or it can be any database like SQL. Basically, the structured collection of the information from where we can get the proper up-to-date data is basically comes under knowledge base. So from where we are taking, from where we are retrieving the data is knowledge base. Once we retrieve the information, the important and useful information, the up-to-date information, then it will go to generation component, where this component start using that information to generate a response which will be very accurate and reliable. So now the next one is contextual understanding. So you can see on the screen that this actually allows the model to interpret the user's query accurately. This helps in retrieving the most relevant information for generating a response. So basically, it understands what is the context behind the retrieved information, it allow or it try to interpret the user's query accurately. So based on that query only, we're going to generate the response, like what we want that will come in the outcome, right? So if it will understand that properly, then it will generate the accurate and reliable response. So this is contextual understanding. Next comes is relevance scoring. Now what it is? Relevance scoring ranks the retrieved information based on its importance to the query. This ensures that the most pertinent information is used in the generation process. So basically, it gives you the assurity that the information which you are using is the most relevant information to generate the response. After that comes integration of retrieval and generation. Basically, the retrieval and generation, when it will get merged, basically the final part, the seamless integration of retrieval and generation component is crucial for RAG. This integration allows what? For real-time information retrieval and response generation. So basically the last part of this, which is called the merging part, basically, when you get the proper information through retrieval, the process is done. Then when you will going to generate, so that seamless process, it comes under the integration of retrieval and generation. Now we will going to understand the benefits of using RAG with LLMs, that why we are using RAG with LLMs. So as we have already talked about the limitation of LLM. So to overcome from that limitation, we will going to use RAG, because RAG somewhere is more beneficial in terms of hallucination. In LLMs, we have discussed about that also. And a lot of other limitation what we actually have in LLMs while using LLMs. So to overcome through that, we are using here. So let's understand step by step everything. So let's discuss all the benefits of using RAG with LLM. So first is enhanced accuracy. As you know that while using LLM, we actually have a limitation that the performance accuracy is not up to the mark. So here it actually work on it. And how it work? It always try to gather the information or to retrieve the information which is up to date. And if the information is up to date, of course you will get the correct response at last. So it ensures the generated text first should be reliable and contextually correct. It should not be like we are working on today and we are getting the outcome of yesterday's part. So it always try to fetch the up-to-date information. If we are working today, so it try to fetch the exact and up-to-date information what we have today, and based on that, when we'll get the response, obviously that will be more reliable and correct. Next is contextual relevance. By retrieving relevant information, you can see here the RAG ensures that responses are contextually appropriate. It should be relatable. Then this leads to more meaningful and relevant interaction with the user. It should be more relatable, it should be more relevant. So then only user can get the response proper there. It try to cut down the irrelevant information and it try to fetch only the relatable data. Next is handling diverse query. RAG allows model to handle a wide range of topics by accessing a vast knowledge base. It enhances the model's ability to answer questions beyond pre-trained knowledge. So we always train the knowledge base, right? So beyond that limit also, it tried to give the accurate and proper answer based on the user's query. So that's why the third is handling diverse queries. Next is reduced hallucination, which is a very important point over here, which makes it a better version, which makes it why we are using nowadays, why we are more focusing on RAG with LLM. because it helps minimizing the hallucination where model generate incorrect or nonsensical information. Because while using large language models, most of the time we face this problem of hallucination, means the model confidently provide or give you the incorrect information, right? And based on that, when we get the response, of course it will be not accurate, it will be incorrect. So it tried to minimize that problem, it tried to minimize that hallucination. You can see here the retrieval of accurate data supports more credible and coherent text generation. So at last, when we generate the response, that will be more correct, accurate, reliable and relevant and up to date as well. Next one is after that scalability. Now you can see on the screen that RAG can scale to include new information without need of retraining the model. Means you no need to retrain the model, you no need to train the model again and again. So it can scale to include new information. Basically, if you are working on some info and if you are getting more info later, the up to date, obviously because it works on up to date information, so it include that up to date that new information it can include, but no need to again work on training the model. So without retraining the model, we can scale to include the new information. Next, it makes it easy to maintain and update the model's knowledge base. So the database, knowledge base is what means when you get the data from, when you store the data in the database, right? The database automatically get updated, so it helps or it makes the process easy by maintaining and updating the model's knowledge base. Now the next one is versatile applications. So RAG is beneficial for various applications, such as you can see here that customer support, content creation and virtual assistant. So it has a lot of application where we can use this RAG. Its ability to provide a precise and the relevant information enhance the effectiveness of these applications, because these all are those applications which actually need the accuracy more. So the point here is why we are using this RAG in these applications, because they actually depended on the accuracy more, and it actually, because of this RAG, these applications provide more effective outcome. So these all are the benefits of using RAG with large language model. Now we're going to understand by using a simple example. So now next is key components in retrieval. What are the key components of retrieval? The first one is retrieval component overview. The retrieval component is responsible for finding relevant information to support the query response. So if a user asks a query, it start working. Okay, it start trying to find the relevant and relatable information based on the query to provide the accurate response through generation. It not only use the pre-trained knowledge base, it use the internet also to get the relevant information based on the user's query. So it accesses external data sources, database or the internet for this information just to get the up-to-date info. After that comes knowledge base. This is again the very important component. Here the knowledge base is what it includes the collection of all the information, relatable information, collection of document, collection of articles, what we are getting through other sources. So it serves as the primary source of information for the retrieval process. After that, efficient search mechanism. So here you can see the retrieval component first understand the query context to search effectively. It involves what? It involves parsing the query to identify key terms and concepts. So if you ask a query, it actually make the search process more efficient. How? It try to get or try to fetch the important key terms out of your query. Try to work on it more to give the correct and accurate response. Now, The next one is information retrieval algorithm. Now what it is, as you can see over here, that algorithm like BM25 or TF-IDF are used to find and rank relevant document. Relevant document, as you already know, that those who are more relatable with the query of the user. So this algorithm is scored document based on their relevance to the query terms, and based on that only we can say that yeah, we are getting the accurate response, because more relatable things only can show you the final accurate response. Next come is relevance scoring. Now what it is, retrieved document are scored to determine their importance to the query. So it prioritized based on the ranking of the info, and the most important will be on the first rank, then so on. So higher scoring document are prioritized for generating the response. So it will move to the generation stage then. After that, again you can see here efficient search mechanism. What it is, advanced search now. So this advanced search mechanism do what? It ensure the quick and accurate retrieval of the information. This efficiency is very important or crucial, we can say, for real-time applications like chatbot and virtual assistant. Next come is key components of generation. Let's talk about first the generation component overview. So the generation component overview is what? It uses the retrieved information. The information what we have retrieved through retrieval, it use that to create the response. And the response will be very relevant to the query. It integrates the retrieved data into meaningful and contextually relevant reply. So whatever information that retrieval process retrieve through various different sources, it actually integrate those data based on the ranking. After that, you can see here is contextual integration. Now what it is, the model integrate context from the query and retrieved information. Then after this ensures what? The response is not only accurate but very appropriate also as per the user query. Then after, next comes language model. Now what it is, the generation component is actually use various advanced language model like GPT-3, GPT-4. These models have been pre-trained on vast data already to generate human-like text. So if you ask a query, obviously you only can understand if it will come as a response in human-like text, right? Then only you will be able to understand what you are getting as a response. You cannot understand in the form of encoded text. So basically it generates the human-like text to make it more easy to understand for a user, and it works on a large amount of data because these models have been already pre-trained on vast amount of data. Next come coherence and fluency. Now what it is, the generated text is designed to be coherent and fluent, resembling natural human conversation. This quality is critical for user satisfaction and engagement. So here if you have noticed what I have explained before, that suppose if you have asked a query, right, with the model, so there if you want to refine it, right, because as a response what you are getting, you are not satisfied with that. It's not like it's not accurate, but the point is you want something more for as a response. So here you can do the conversation in a very natural human conversation. In that manner you can do the conversation, and you can refine the response in your based on your query, and based on that again you will get the more accurate outcome. So this quality is critical or important. Why? For us, means for user satisfaction and engagement. Next is dynamic content generation. The generation process is dynamic and allowing what the model to create a diverse and adaptive response. It can handle various type of queries from factual question to conversational prompt. Conversational means when you start asking again and again based on the response what you are getting through the model, and based on your refinement of the query, it start giving you more better version of the response. So this is a very important component of generation. Now the next is response optimization. Now what it is, the model continuously optimize the response based on the feedback and new data. Feedback means if we want to give something more based on the response, that feedback loop will work over here. So based on the feedback and suppose something new come up, right? So based on that new data, it always optimize the response in a better way. This adaptive learning actually improves the accuracy and the relevance of future responses. So this adaptive learning not only improves the accuracy, but actually it improves the relevance of the future responses also, because it continuously optimize the output, or we can say the response, based on the updated information and based on the feedback what we share or what we give to the generated response. So now, as we have discussed, as we have spoke about the benefits of using RAG with LLM, let's talk about the RAG's effectiveness by using a simple example. So first you can see here query example. So here you consider a user asking what are the latest advancement in AI. A standard language model might provide a general answer based on its training data, because the training model, based on that only generally the language model provides the answer. Retrieval process is the next. The RAG model first retrieve the recent article, research paper on AI advancement. So this is the example of that up-to-date information. Like RAG uses always the up-to-date information. So this is the part there. This ensures that the response includes the latest information available. It not only will work on the trained data, but if you have some up-to-date information regarding your query, so it will try to fetch that without retraining the data. Then comes generation process. You can see here that using the retrieved data, the model generates a detailed and up-to-date response there, because first the retrieved data is up-to-date already. So obviously once the generation process starts, so it will give you the up-to-date response and in a detailed manner. This response is more accurate and informative compared to standard models answer. Reason? Because it not only work on the trained data, but if you have something new related with the query what you are asking for, it work on that and then will give you the final response. So the accuracy is more here and more informative. Now, the next is comparative effectiveness. What it is? A standard model might say AI is improving rapidly with new technology. In contrast, a RAG model could say recent advancement in AI include development in quantum computing and ethical AI framework as reported in the latest research paper from 2024. So you can see the difference, that the standard model, how we'll get the response through that, and if we are talking about RAG, then how and what response we could get through this model. Next comes user satisfaction. Now what it is? Obviously the name itself is explaining the whole thing over here, that the detailed and current response provided by RAG enhances user satisfaction. You can see in the above example that the response what we are getting through standard and the RAG, which one is more satisfied. So if I see the outcome through the standard model and if I see the outcome what we are having right now through RAG model, the second one is more satisfactory, right? We are understanding properly here what are the recent advancement in AI, right? So this satisfaction should be there for the users, and user receive precise and relevant information, correct information, reliable information, up-to-date information. which improve their overall experience. So that should be there. It should be there for a user, because why we are working on large language model, why we are working more on RAG, just to get the satisfied experience from the user. Now next comes practical implication. Now what it is, as you can see on the screen, this example highlight how RAG can be more effective in real world application, how RAG is so helpful in terms of better user experience. It demonstrates the practical benefits of integrating retrieval with generation for better AI interaction. Now the next part, workflow of RAG. How RAG works. So basic workflow of RAG will going to understand, the step by step we're going to discuss about. The first one is user query. We'll work on the user query. The first step is the process starts when a user inputs a query or a prompt into the system. This query can be a question. This query can be a request for information, means if I want to know something about anything, like suppose if I want to know about the latest advancement in AI, so I can ask as a request for that information, what I'm providing, or any text input requiring a response. After this user query, when we start with our query, next is retrieval stage. There RAG start doing its work. So the model searches for the relevant information based on our query from a predefined knowledge base or the internet. It's not only depend on the predefined knowledge base. It try to fetch, it try to retrieve the information through the internet as well. It try to collect all the relatable, relevant information. And then once it retrieves the most relevant information, articles, data, whatever, based on the query, it moves to the next step. And the next step is ranking retrieved information. Now what it is, we have already discussed in a brief that the retrieved information is ranked based on its relevance and importance to the query, that how much that retrieved information is relatable to the query, the user query. Based on, we ranked those information, and the most relevant information will be prioritized for the next step, for the next stage. Okay, so here you can see that the retrieved information is ranked based on its relevance and importance to the query, how it is important, how it is useful, how much it is useful for the query what user is asking for. This step ensures that the most important data should be prioritized for the next stage, because if we'll not prioritize, if we'll not going to rank the most prominent data, most relevant data, then the accuracy might vary. So here this step actually is very important to have, because it actually do the ranking thing. Ranking process basically trying to prioritize the most important info from the retrieved information. Now the next is after that generation stage. So what generation stage do? We have already discussed it in brief, that the model uses the top ranked retrieved information to generate the response for the user. Here you can see it involves what? It involves creating coherent and contextually appropriate text that addresses the user's query very accurately and very clearly. Basically, it works on the ranking retrieve information. Why? Because based on the top prioritized information, which is what? Which is more relatable to the query. Okay, so based on those top ranked information, it start generating the response, and it start giving the detailed and accurate response, which is more relatable and relevant to the query. So this is called generation stage. Next is response delivery. Now what it is? The generated response. What we have discussed in the last slide, that the response what we based on what we retrieved through the ranking retrieval stage. When we generate the response, that response is delivered back to the user. If we have worked on your query, we have retrieved the information, then we have prioritized the most relevant information based on your query. We have generated the response in a detailed manner. Now it is time to deliver back to the user. It is time to send the final response to the user based on his or her query. The response aims to be accurate, relevant, and informative, means in a detailed manner, enhancing user satisfaction. So we have already talked about, we have already discussed in between the standard model and the RAG model. You can understand now the difference between both, that how we get the outcome response from the standard and how we get through the RAG model. So here, because of this RAG, the response what we get at the end will be more satisfactory. Next is feedback loop. Here you can see that user feedback can be used to refine and improve the retrieval and generation process. At last we can see it is also a process. Sometimes maybe we can get the proper refined or some thing that model also can miss, right? It try to give you the accurate response, but sometimes suppose what if we miss anything. So here this feedback loop do what? Based on the generated response, when it get delivered to the user, when user get the response at last, user feedback here basically what user give the improve feedback, like where we can improve, where we can refine it more. It's like if you give a prompt, right? If you are getting some outcome based on your prompt, and if you want something more, it's not sufficient for you. So that information what you are getting as a response, so you will again go ask back. Okay, you will going to ask back, or you will going to give the prompt back. Okay, I want more on this. So that feedback is working here like a refinement on your query. So what it improves? It improves the retrieval and generation process more, and this loop help continuously enhancing the model's performance. You will get better version of the final response. So this is the feedback loop. After this, we're going to understand the key components of RAG, means for retrieval and for generation. So let's discuss now about the various applications of RAG. First one is customer support. How we use RAG in customer support? RAG enhances customer support by providing accurate and timely responses to the user query. Second, it uses real-time data retrieval to answer diverse questions, improving customer satisfaction. Next application is virtual assistant. Virtual assistant is like what? Siri, Alexa. These applications uses RAG to deliver the relevant information quickly. So whenever you ask any question, or whenever you say anything to Siri and Alexa, you get the response very quickly and correct also. So these all because of implementing RAG to that virtual assistant, and it enables them to handle a wide range of tasks, from setting reminders to answering complex questions. So it actually uses there as in to set various different tasks. So RAG is not only helpful to get the relevant information or up-to-date information, it is helpful in other tasks also, for especially virtual assistant. Next come is content creation. Now how it can be helpful in creating a content? So it aids in generating high quality content for blogs, article and social media. If you ask a query based on your information what you will provide, that I want in this manner, I want in that manner. So based on your informative query, it will try to give you the correct and accurate and detailed response there. So that can be helpful to create your blog or article or any other social media post. It retrieves the relevant information or data to ensure the content is accurate and up to date. Next application is medical diagnosis. Now, how it can be helpful in terms of medical? So, in healthcare, RAG assists doctor by retrieving and summarizing the latest medical research. This support accurate and informed decision making in patient care. So, suppose if you are not aware about the latest or advancement in medical research, obviously it will not be so helpful for in terms of patient care, right? So if you have the complete info about the latest research, what is going in medical or in healthcare, so that will be helpful for a doctor to take care of a patient based on the latest and advancement research what we have in the medical field. After that, you can see here that it is helpful in educational tool. How it is helpful in education, as we use in education to provide student with precise and detailed explanation. It helps in creating personalized learning experience by retrieving relevant study material based on the child or based on the student. We can provide the relevant study material so they can go through that and it will be more accurate and up to date. So there also the RAG is very helpful. Next comes legal research. So basically legal professionals use this RAG to quickly find and summarize the pertinent legal documents. This speeds up the research process and improves the accuracy of legal advice. So you know that if we go with legal documents, we actually have to go through with a lot of documents. Just to read the document, it actually takes a lot of time. So it gives you the summarized form of those documents, and based on that summary, you can work in a more effective manner that research, or you can give the more effective advice there quickly. So that's why RAG is very helpful in legal research as well. Now the next one is text summarization. Now before we understand how it is helpful there, we'll understand what is text summarization. So text summarization is what if you give a lengthy para, just for an example, in a very simple way I'm explaining that if you are giving a very lengthy and very text heavy paragraph, right, and if you just want a brief about that, it summarize that complete para in a very precise or very brief manner. So you just, what basically text summarization do, it focus more on the key words out of that complete para, and which is very important for you to understand. So text summarization is what? It is the process of condensing a long document into a shorter version while retaining the key information. RAG enhances this by retrieving the most relevant part of the text to include in the summary. So what basically RAGs do? Actually read the complete large document, okay? Out of that, it try to pick the important keywords, okay? Based on those important keywords, it try to summarize in a very shorter version. So that will actually help to reduce the time of reading the whole large document, and it somewhere save your time only. So this is called text summarization. Now next is automatic summarization tool. RAG powered tool can automatically summarize articles, reports and books. So it is very helpful in text summarization, and by using this tool, it actually gives the summarized version of any report, article or book in a very quicker way. This saves time, as I said before, and effort for user who need quick insight from lengthy text. So just not to waste the time, we can summarize the large amount of info in a very shorter version. Next is improving comprehension. Summarized text help the readers understand the main points without reading the entire document. What is the meaning of this? Basically, that the entire document, if you read, it will take time for you. to understand first, and once you will read the entire document, then after only you can come on some conclusion. So when you will get the summarized text, means when you will get the main point out of that entire document, you can work on it in a very quick manner, and then you can come on the conclusion also very fast. So this is particularly useful in academic and professional setting where time is limited. After that, keeping summaries relevant. So by retrieving up-to-date information, you can see on the screen that what is written, that RAG ensures the summary include the latest development. It always try to work on the up-to-date information. This is very important for those fields, especially in news and research, where the up-to-date information is must, where information is constantly evolving, means it keeps changing, right? So there it is very important. So next, after we're going to discuss customizable summaries. What it is, user can customize the level of detail in the summary according to their need. If I just want, suppose if I am giving a large document and I just want to understand the main point, if I am at beginner level, and the document is not only for beginner, it is for the beginner, for professional, or basically we can say for advanced level also. But I just want a summary based on, as I am a beginner, so I just want the summary based on that part. So it will actually customize that, okay, based on our need. RAG can generate brief overview or more detailed summary based on our preference. So if I am a professional and what the document I shared, I want a detailed summary of that, so I can customize in a way. If I am at beginner level, I just need easy summarized version, so I can customize in that way. So it is very helpful in customizable summary. After that, integration with other apps. It can easily integrate with other apps. How? You can see on the screen that text summarization can be integrated into other applications such as email client and document editor. So if this flexibility there now, it will be very helpful for us in our work. So this enhances productivity by providing quick insights directly within the tool user already use. So no need to work again separately, because it can easily integrate with the tool on which we are already working. So that will actually somewhere make our job easy, and this flexibility should be there while using any tool, right? So RAG is having that quality, or we can say that benefit what we have through RAG is that it can easily integrate with other apps. Now, next is advanced question answering system. How RAG is helpful over here. First, we'll understand in the introductory part of what is advanced question answering system. Advanced QA system utilize sophisticated algorithm to understand and answer complex query. When we ask any question, we should get the proper answer. So in a very simple manner, I can say what is question answering system. If you ask very complex query, you should get the proper answer, so that advanced QA system understand that complex query and give you answer. This system go beyond simple keyword matching to provide accurate and contextually relevant response. After that, integration of retrieval and generation. It combines retrieval mechanism to gather relevant information from database. Uses generation model to synthesize coherent and accurate answers from the retrieved data. So integration of retrieval and generation is what? When you retrieve the relevant information based on the user query, it generates the accurate response and up-to-date response and relevant information. That is the part of integrating retrieval and generation part. After this, role of LLM in QA system. Now, what is the role of LLM in QA system? Large language model like GPT-4 enhance QA system by providing different context-aware responses. LLM can handle a wide range of topic and generate detailed answer based on vast amount of training data. Because if you talk about GPT-4 is trained by using a large and vast amount of data. So if you give any query, if you ask any query using a prompt, you will get some response through that model GPT-4. So how? Because it can handle wide or different range of topic and generate detailed answer based on that trained data what we have feed there. That data is actually a large amount of vast amount of data. Next is real-time data access. Now the meaning of here real-time data access is advanced QA system can access and retrieve real-time data, ensuring that answers are up to date. Real-time means what? Right? Whatever you are asking, it should be up to date on real-time basis. So whatever query you will going to ask, based on that, this actually retrieve the information and generate the response which will be up to date. This capability is very important for application require current information, especially for example, for news channels, right? Such as news and financial data. That financial data, of course, should be up to date only. In stock market, the data should be up to date. So for those application, it is very important. After comes personalized response. QA system not only used for real-time data access but can provide personalized answers based on user history and preferences. Personalized enhances user experience by making interaction more relevant and engaging. Let's discuss about application across domains. Widely used in customer support, we have already talked about virtual assistant, healthcare, and education. These systems help automate response, reduce the workload of the user, and improve the efficiency across different sectors. So this is all about various applications in RAG. We have discussed about various applications like how we are using in customer support, virtual assistant, and many more. After this, we're going to understand more about RAG, that the hallucination term, which is very crucial or important to understand. So let's discuss about hallucination in RAG system. Now we're going to understand the most crucial part, which is hallucination in RAG system. How RAG will be helpful and how does it help this hallucination in LLM. But before that, we'll understand hallucination in LLMs first. What is hallucination? Hallucination in LLM occurs when the model generates the text which is factually incorrect. Okay, this response may seem plausible but are not based on the accurate information. So in short, we can say that when the model generate the output, generate the response, but it is not correct, it is incorrect. So because of that, we obviously lose the accuracy there, and that is known as hallucination. It actually, this issue actually we have more in large language model. So next is cause of hallucination. Why it happen? Why we get this issue? So hallucination can occur due to the limitation of training the data or the model inability to retrieve the relevant information. So in that case, this hallucination occur. So they often occur if the model attempts to answer question beyond its training scope. So if you remember, I have discussed this, that RAG is actually not only work on the trained data, but if the information is getting up to date, right? So it try to retrieve that up to date information also without retraining the model. So this thing, if is not there during the modeling, then this hallucination can occur. After this, example of hallucination. An LLM might generate a false historical event or incorrect scientific fact. For instance, stating that Albert Einstein was born in 1900 is a clear hallucination. So, if the information what we are getting as a response, very confidently LLM provide you the information, but it might be possible, can be wrong or can be incorrect. So, this causes the hallucination. Now we're going to understand the impact of this hallucination on user. Hallucination can lead to misinformation. Basically, it mislead you from the correct or accurate information, reduce the reliability of AI system. Because if you are getting incorrect information, if you are getting inaccurate response, so obviously that reliability on an AI system automatically will get dropped down. User may lose trust in the technology if they frequently encounter the inaccurate information there. So that trust what we generally have on AI, that will get the proper and accurate response, automatically will get dropped down. Then after, detection challenges. Detecting hallucination can be challenging as the generated text often appear coherent and plausible. It requires verification against reliable source to identify inaccuracy. So if you get the inaccurate response, so obviously you have to work on it again and again to get the correct response. And at last also, maybe we'll not sure that what we are getting at last as a final response is correct or is incorrect. So that challenges we have to face if we are having this hallucination in LLM. After that, need for addressing it. Mitigating hallucination is crucial and important for maintaining the credibility and usefulness of AI system. Ensuring accuracy enhance user trust and the overall effectiveness of LLM. It not only enhance the user trust, but if we get the accurate response, then only we can proceed further for the next step. So everything will get stopped if you are getting the inaccurate response or the response which is not relatable or relevant, okay, with the query what we are asking for. So here, that need for addressing it means that ensuring accuracy enhances user trust also and the overall effectiveness of LLM as well. Now, how does a RAG help mitigate hallucination? How it is helpful to overcome this problem? So, first is integration of retrieval. In this, you can see on the screen that RAG mitigate hallucination by integrating the retrieval component that access accurate information. RAG always retrieve the relevant and accurate and up-to-date information. So, try to integrate that. This ensures that the generated response are based on and will be based on the up-to-date info. After that, enhance the accuracy. Automatically, it will enhance because if you are having the up-to-date info, accurate info, so the accuracy automatically will get enhanced and improved. So, by retrieving relevant document or data, RAG provide a factual basis of generating text. This reduces the likelihood of the model predicting the inaccurate or fabricated information. Next is contextual relevance. Now, what does it mean? That RAG always ensures that the retrieved information should be very contextually relevant and relatable and accurate to the user query. It should get matched with the query what we are asking. So, this helps the model generate the responses that are both accurate and appropriate. After that, real-time data access. RAG not only work on the data which is there we have in knowledge base, pre-defined knowledge base, it try to fetch the up-to-date current information as well. So RAG system can access real-time information, which is very important point what we have in RAG, that it can access real-time information. So that's why, because of that reason, it keeps model knowledge current. So basically, if we get the up-to-date information, so accuracy automatically will get maintained. This is particularly useful for answering question about recent event or rapidly changing feeds like news channel. In news channel, we cannot keep the old or historical information only. We have to be very updated there. And in financial market, like a stock market, that details should always be up to date, right? So in those type of fields, this is very important to have. Next is feedback mechanism. User feedback on the accuracy of response can be used to improve the retrieval and generation process. Continuous learning from the feedback help refine the system and reduce hallucination over time. So if you continue learn from the feedback, and if you continue work based on the feedback, refine your response, automatically it will reduce the hallucination issue. Next comes continuous improvement. RAG systems are designed to improve continuously by incorporating new data, up-to-date data, and refining the retrieved algorithm. So if you are getting a response, and if you use that feedback loop, so based on that, it start working on refining the retrieval algorithm. And if it start refining that, if it continuously improve on the information, so you will get the accurate outcome at last. This ongoing enhancement further reduces the occurrence of hallucination. So that's how RAG help mitigate hallucination. After that, we're going to understand this RAG, how it is helpful in LLM, and what is the process, what all are the steps that should be covered while using RAG in LLM. We're going to discuss next. So now, before we implement RAG using LangChain, we're going to understand the steps to implement this RAG with LangChain. First step would be install required libraries. You can see here that begin by installing LangChain and other necessary libraries using pip. Use the command pip install LangChain transformer FAISS and then CPU. It actually is helpful because if you are going to use, you have to install all the required libraries first, then only you will be able to move further. Then the next step is setting up the environment. Import required libraries and set up the environment for LangChain and RAG. Initialize necessary configuration, what configuration you required for retrieval and generation component that you need to be taken care of. Next is prepare data. You have to load the data and you have to pre-process your data set to create a knowledge base, because knowledge base is what basically used to store the information, okay, from various database I said, and from various sources. So you have to load and pre-process your data set to create a knowledge base. From there, you will be able to get the response through generation process. Ensure the data is in format suitable for retrieval, such as document or text-based passages. After, the next step is initialize retrieval component. You have to initialize retrieval component. Why? Because based on the query, it starts searching the relevant information. So set up the retrieval component using LangChain built-in function. Configure the retrieval setting to define how the data will be accessed and ranked. And then the configure generation component. After retrieval, of course, the generation component will be there. So you have to initialize that component using a pre-trained language model like GPT-3 or 4. Set up the model to generate the text based on retrieved information. So when you will set this, then only you will be able to get the response based on the retrieved information what you have here. Then integrate retrieval and generation. Combine both components to create the final RAG system. Ensure seamless integration so that the retrieved data inform the text generation process there. Test and refine. This is the last step where you can see that test the RAG system with sample queries. We're going to then after give the query, sample query, and just to get the surety that whether it works correctly, whether it's working correctly or not. Refine the retrieval and generation parameters based on the result for optimal performance. Now we're going to understand the simple example to demonstrate this complete process. So first step would be install LangChain, second would be import libraries, third would be load and pre-process data, fourth would be initialize retrieval component, then after configure the generation component, after that create RAG chain, and at last test the system by giving the sample query. Now let's understand the future of RAG. As we have understood how to implement RAG in LangChain, we're going to understand what is the future of RAG. So upcoming trends and innovation in RAG are integration with real-time data. Future RAG system will increasingly integrate with real-time data, because now the things are keep changing, right? So the data what we are working on, again and again we have to refine it, right? So if the real-time data is getting changed and getting up to date, so this RAG system will increasingly integrate with those. This will enhance the relevance and timeliness of generated response, making them more useful for dynamic application. Next is improved retrieval algorithm. Now what it is, advances in retrieval algorithm will allow for faster and more accurate information. And if the retrieval algorithm will get improved more, so obviously that advanced part of that, advanced version of that, will give you better result at last. So enhancing the algorithm, making it more advanced, will improve the quality of the retrieved data. That will be more than up to date version, means that up to date will be there, but the accuracy will get enhanced there. Multimodal RAG system. Now what it is, combining text with other data types like images, audio and video. This will enable more contextually rich response, expanding the application of RAG. It will be more helpful in various applications where we are using RAG. Then after, enhance security and privacy. Innovation will focus on improving data security and user privacy in RAG system. Because if we use a vast amount of data, we should take care of the data could be sensitive, and there we have to be very careful. So this enhanced security and privacy do what? It actually secure data handling practices, and it will be critical as this system handle sensitive information there. After that, scalability improvement. RAG system will become more scalable, handling larger data set and more complex queries. This will enable their use in broader and more demanding application. Right now we have discussed few application. Somewhere it is not in use in that level, but if we improve the scalability, we can broad, or we can use this RAG system in more demanding application as well. Now the next part is, we're going to talk about that potential impact and advancement of RAG. Advancement in AI research. First, RAG will drive significant advancement in AI research, pushing the boundaries of what is possible with AI. Researcher will explore new architectures, new method, new different ways to improve the retrieval and generation. After that, enhanced decision making. If business and organization will use this RAG, so that they can enhance the decision making process also. Access to accurate and up-to-date information, will get the accurate and up-to-date information, so that will improve the strategic planning and operation. So basically, overall, it will be helpful in taking a decision correctly and accurately. Increased accessibility to information. RAG system will make information more accessible to a broader audience. We can use in a different domain where right now, if we are not be able to use this RAG, there also you can use the RAG to get the accurate response properly. Now user will benefit from accurate and relevant information tailored to their need regardless of their background. After that, revolutionizing customer service. It will lead to higher customer satisfaction and more efficient support system. Improved healthcare solution in medical also, it will be more helpful and beneficial. It will not only work on the latest research of medical, but it will give you more up to date, or what will be the future of that after that research, the up to date research information, what generally RAG provide you, right? After that, what can be there in the future, that also you can get easily. So this will improve diagnostic, the accuracy and patient care, leveraging the latest medical advancement. So it will not only give you the up-to-date medical information and research, and it will give you what comes next. That also will be there. After that, economic growth. So this is also an impact of RAG. the widespread adoption of RAG will contribute to economic growth. How? Business will become more efficient and innovative. It actually save your time, right? So there obviously the efficiency will get increased, innovation obviously will get increased. It will lead to new market opportunities and job creation. So now we're going to understand how to use RAG in LLM via hands-on. First, we're going to import some necessary libraries. So what they are and what is the purpose of those libraries, we'll understand step by step. So the first is we're going to import the first library, which is pip install LangChain community. What is the use of this? It is used for building the various application using language models. Now we're going to give other library, another one, which is C transformer. So pip install C transformer. So basically it focuses on efficient usage. Okay. Next we're going to import what? Pip install transformer. So these are like the Hugging Face libraries for model like Bird GPT. Next, the next library which we're going to give here is, now we're going to give another library which is also very important to use in this, and that is basically FAISS CPU. Okay, so basically this library is efficient. It is used for efficient similarity search and clustering the dense vectors. Okay. After this, we're going to give another one, which is pip install sentence transformers. So this library is for sentence embedding. Okay. So next you can see on the screen that pip install LangChain Hugging Face. What is the use of this library? Basically, it is used to build LangChain, or we can say language model applications. Okay, so these all are very important libraries which we have to install while applying the RAG in LLM, while performing the hands-on part. So as you can see on the screen, we have given all the important libraries that needs to be installed before giving the code. Once it will get installed, then we're going to use the libraries from these all. Okay, so next we're going to import the libraries and we're going to load the model. So basically you can see that few things are downloading over here and few are already satisfied. Okay, so once it will get finished, we'll move to the next code. So now all the required libraries that needs to be installed before we start the coding, it's already done over here. As you can see, it is installed, and if it is already there, then you can see the message that required already satisfied. Now we're going to give the libraries and we're going to load the model. As you can see, I have given the code. So from LangChain community, what we are importing C transformer, from transformer what we are importing that auto tokenizer, auto model. Why we're going to use it, that we're going to understand step by step while using these libraries during our coding part. Okay, so here you can see that we have given the libraries and we have given all the required models also, which we're going to use for further modeling. When I'll run this code, it will take a time because step by step it will import all the required libraries over here. Now, next step is what we're going to load the LLM using C transformer. How we're going to do? So for that we have a code that I'm going to show you over here. So now you can see over here on the screen that we have created a variable LLM in which we are using C transformers, and we are using a model that is the block llama 2 7B GGML, and the type of this model is llama. What is the meaning of this code is basically that we are loading the model by using C transformer. So let's run this code and it's done. You can see that it's fetching the details and the model which we have used from there. Once it will get done, then we'll move to the next code. So now you can see that we have used over here the model by using C transformer library. Now the next task is to load the tokenizer and model for embeddings. How to do that? First, we have to create a variable with the name tokenizer, and in that we're going to use what? Auto tokenizer from pre-trained. In that we're going to type sentence transformer. What is the use of this? I'll let you know. So first, in tokenizer we are using auto tokenizer. From that we are giving from pre-trained sentence transformer, and after that we're going to use all mini LM L6 V2. Now what it is? This should be hyphen. So it loads a pre-trained tokenizer, as you can see from pre-trained. So it actually load the pre-trained tokenizer from where? From mini LM L6 V2 model. Okay, so this is the meaning of this. As what we are doing here, we are loading the tokenizer and the model for what? Embedding. So that we have done. Now let's run this code. Now the next part over here, you can see after loading this, we're going to load the mini LM model. And why we're going to do that? We're going to do this for generating the embeddings. So first we have loaded the tokenizer. Now we're going to load what? The model. So the next code you can see on the screen is loading the model for embedding. So once we load the model for embedding, we have loaded till now that tokenizer and model both for the embedding part. Next step is what? We're going to define the embedding text. For that, we're going to create a function. So first, I'll give the code over here, define embed text. And in that user defined function, we're going to give some inputs. So for that, we're going to create a variable inputs tokenizer. What it will use? Text return tensors. Now the next code over here is, after giving this, we're going to use the torch.noGrade function, and in that we're going to use what? The output last hidden state. So basically it is what we're going to understand once I'll give the code over here. So that is output equal to model within bracket inputs. In embeddings, what we're going to use? This output dot last hidden state dot mean, dimension we are using equal to 1, and then CPU dot numpy, and at last return this code is basically we are creating over a user defined function, and it's converting the text into what? The embedding using the model. Which model we have used over here is mini LM model. So by using that model, we are converting the text into what? Into the embeddings. So once we'll run this code, then we can use this function in our further process. So let's understand what we're going to do next. We're going to get the embedding dimension. How to get the embedding dimension, that we're going to understand by giving a code. So now you can see over here that we have given step by step all the code. First we have given the embedding dimension, how to get this by giving this code over here. If we want to initialize the index for the embedding, that we have to create a variable in which we have to use FISS library, and in that we have to take the index for that embedding dimensions. Now after that we're going to store the document in memory doc store, that will get stored. By using this function we're going to store. Next is create an index to doc store ID mapping. So index to doc store ID, we are creating a dictionary over here in which everything will get stored. Okay, then after we're going to create a vector store in which we are calling FAISS library, and in that we are calling all the variable whichever we have created till now. Okay, we're going to give in this function, and once we'll run this, next process would be what the last code basically is doing over here, that vector store. It's actually creating a FAISS vector store, and it manage and search the document embedding. Now the next is to prepare your document. How to prepare a document? For that we're going to give a code. So the next step is to prepare your document. So as you can see that I have given few documents from, and in that document I am giving few statements, right? So when I ask at last a query based on this document, I'll get automatically the answer of that. So let's run this first, and then we'll move to the step 4. Now what will be the step 4? You can see on the screen that I have given that code, that is text equal to doc.page underscore content for doc in document. For now, I'll give you a brief about that we are embedding the document and adding them to the vector store. But the meaning of the first code, you can see on the screen that first code over here, you can see text equal to doc.page content. What basically it is doing over here, it actually extracting the text. From where is actually extracting the text content from each document, it is extracting in the document list. Okay, so the first is extracting the text content. Next you can see that over here I have given a code that for I embedding enumerate embeddings, and in that I'm using a loop basically over here. So it is doing what? It is actually adding each embedding to the FISS index, and you can see over here that I have given that index to doc store ID equal to doc I page content. What it is basically mean, what is the meaning of this particular code is, it's actually mapping the index entry and where to the corresponding document content. Okay, so the meaning of this we have already understood. Let's run this code. So now the next one is defining a simple retriever. This code basically do what? As you can see, I have given a user defined function over here that defines simple retriever. Within a bracket I am giving a query as an input. So basically this function retrieves the most relevant query. Okay, so to retrieve the most relevant query, we are creating this function over here. Let's run this code, and you can see that how we have given over here a code that query underscore embedding equal to embed text query, and then we are giving that di equal to index dot search. So these all are basically for what? Just they do by comparing its embedding to those in FISS index. So by comparing that from the FISS index, we can get the most relevant query. Okay, next is we'll going forward and we'll give the next code. Now the next is creating a RAG chain. For that we are calling a class and with the name simple retrieval QA. So the meaning of this class, it initializes a QA system. first point. Second, as I can see on the screen, that it is initializing a QA system with what? With a language model and a retriever. Okay, so here we are calling the language model also, we are giving the code for retriever also, and by using that this class is initializing a QA system. Once we run this code, let me explain you the second part also. We are defining a function over here, run self query, and context equal to self dot retriever, within bracket we are giving query over here. So this method is doing what? Is actually retrieves the context and for a query. So whatever the query will going to give, so for that is actually retrieving that context for a query, and it generate an answer. So if at last when you give a query, by using this it will generate the answer based on the query what you will going to ask. Okay, now we're going to do what? The next step. So the next step over here is what? We're going to ask a question using the RAG model. As my query over here is what is LangChain. So based on the document I shared, based on the function which I have created, based on the class which I have called over here to create the LangChain, I will going to give this query over here is what is LangChain, and answer from where it will fetch QA underscore chain dot run, within that the question what we have asked. So QA chain is basically what? Where you can see here that we are creating a RAG chain, and it is used for basically to retrieve the context for the query. So once we'll run this code, you will get the answer that what is LangChain over here. So as you can see, after giving the question, after asking the question using RAG model, and how we are getting the answer from the RAG model, then you can see what is purpose LangChain, and it is giving the complete output based on the query what we have asked over here. So that's how we can use the RAG in LLM, and I want you now to go and check all these codes, apply it manually and understand how it works. So let's talk about what we have discussed so far. First, we have discussed the limitation of LLM, such as computational resources, data dependency, performance issue, etc. Then retrieval augmented generation, that is RAG, combine language generation with information retrieval to enhance the text accuracy. Then after, RAG reduces hallucination and provide more accurate, contextually relevant responses. Using tools like LangChain, RAG system can be set up to retrieve and generate information seamlessly. The future of RAG is that the innovation will integrate real-time data, improve personalization, and expand application across various fields. So this is all about RAG and how to implement RAG in LLM, how it will be beneficial for you to use. We have completely covered here. I want you to now explore about this RAG more and try to work on it and understand how we can make our response better and more accurate. Thank you.